Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
It is Tuesday, July 30th, and that was fun.
That was so fun.
I love meeting people from all around the world. And so now we're going to head to the country of Texas. And today we get to talk with Pastor Timothy Appel, pastor of Grace Lutheran Church in Smithville, Texas, and new host of Sharper Iron right here on KFUO, 8 a.m. on weekdays. Pastor Appel, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
The country of Texas.
I appreciate that shout out. I do.
The Texan pride runs very deep. If you read his bio on the website.
Yes. Yeah, you want something fun to read, go check out the bios on the Connect tab. Is that where it is? Connect tab so, yeah. On the KFUO.org website, and meet some of the program hosts there. Or actually just go to the bottom of any episode of Sharper Iron, and you'll see his picture and the profile there. And you might chuckle a little bit too.
I hope you'll chuckle.
Some fun things. What did you, Pastor Appel? What did you think when Sarah wrote that fictitious piece? I mean, that real piece. It wasn't fictitious. It was based on truth.
It is. And it's much more interesting than I would have probably written it. So I appreciate the creativity. Yeah, but I think it captures you picked up on the fact that I'm from Texas. I could see. So
yeah, I mean, you answered multiple questions from Texas, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So other than being a proud Texan, who is Pastor Appel?
Well, I'm a pastor at Grace Lutheran Church in Smithville, Texas, and Smithville is it's kind of right in the heart of Central Texas. We're about an hour east of Austin, 2 hours west of Houston, 2 hours from San Antonio, 3 from Dallas. So kind of right in the middle of all those cities. And I've been at Grace here for 9 years. I was ordained and installed here in 2010 out of the seminary, and it's been a privilege and a pleasure to serve with the people of God here. It's a wonderful place. In addition to my service as a pastor, I'm very blessed to be a husband, also for 9 years. We did all those life transitions in 2010. Graduated from seminary, got married, and moved, and was ordained and installed. So we've been married for 9 years, and our marriage has been blessed with 4 wonderful sons who are a great joy to our lives. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm from Texas. I grew up in a slightly different part. Went to college at Concordia Austin and seminary in St. Louis.
I have so many things I want to ask you, but I'm going to try to.
Well, since he brought up life, all those transitions, I think we have to ask the pressing question. How did you meet your wife? Because she's not from Texas, right?
No, she's not. She's from Godfrey, Illinois, just across the river there in St. Louis, and we met while my first year in seminary was her last year at Concordia Seward, and so her home church was my fieldwork church. Yeah,
see, I knew there was a good story behind it. That's why I jumped in.
I actually met her parents first, got to know them, and it was that Mother's Day that was the end of my first year there when she was home and I wasn't quite back in Texas yet, and I thank my mother-in-law for her help. She may be listening, so if you are there, and good. Thanks, Mom.
Fieldwork isn't just about doing the readings or teaching a class on Sundays.
It's building relationships.
That's right.
That's right.
That could have ended either very, very badly or very well. So I'm glad it ended very well. Still so many things. What do you enjoy about studying the Bible? I mean, you're a pastor, so that's part of your job. So hopefully you enjoy it. But what is it about studying the scriptures, especially in community with other people, that you really enjoy doing?
The great thing about Sharper Iron in particular is that it gives me the opportunity to look at the scriptures along with another pastor who's going to bring out of the text things that I may not have been able to see. And so being able to do that, as you said, as a part of the community, as a part of the church, is such a wonderful blessing, because God gives us his word to give us life, because that's where Christ is for us. And wherever Christ is, there is life. And so to benefit from that study myself, and then to be blessed along with another pastor to do that, is such a wonderful thing. And then hopefully for the listeners as well, to benefit from the ways that the two pastors talk about the text and learn from each other it's just such a joy to be able to do that. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it's certainly that's the job of the pastor, but it's a great joy to be able to dig into the Word of God each and every morning, and to grow personally, and then to know that that's a blessing to the listeners and to hopefully the whole church as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the aim of Sharper Iron? When pastors get together, it's called. There's a meeting that we have regularly. It's called a winkle. Some folks may be familiar with that. And winkle is just a term that means meeting. Actually, I think it means corner in German, right? And so pastors get together and they meet in a corner, I guess. Put all the pastors in the corner.
That's really funny.
Yeah, something like that. But the goal of that meeting of the pastors is so that they might build each other up in their ministries. They study the Word of God together. We do that here in Central Texas. There's a couple of circuits that get together on a monthly basis. We study the Word of God together. And the way I like to think of Sharper Iron is it's a winkle between two pastors, where one pastor or both pastors have looked at the text. One pastor in particular has prepared a study on that. And then we get to learn from each other. And those who overhear get to benefit from the wisdom that ultimately comes not from those two pastors, but it comes from the Word of God. And so that's what Sharper Iron intends to be. It looks both at a very narrow context sometimes, right? We dig into the details, but also hopefully get to see that big picture of the narrative that God gives us in His Word, that story of salvation.
Yeah, it's really great to hear all of those insights. Because if I open the Bible and read a chapter, I'm gonna know what I know just from my own experience. But then you listen to Sharper Iron, any of our Bible studies. But there's all of this other insight and all of this other stuff that you guys have learned and that you can bounce off of each other, and it's just so great. And all these aha moments, it's wonderful. So
minute and a half.
Okay, I'll ask a question, I promise. So you've been hosting since July 1st. What have you enjoyed about hosting so far in the last 30 days?
I've enjoyed talking to all these pastors. Some of whom I knew previously. Some of them are actually friends of mine, right here locally, but some I don't know, and some I've gotten to know in the process. And so to be able to talk to them, and one of the real blessings, I was just commenting this to Pastor Sean Smith, another host on KFUO, just the other day, that it's just such a great joy for me to talk on the radio with a pastor that I may not have ever met, and yet to be on the same page with that pastor and to recognize that and experience that fellowship that we have within the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and to be blessed by that, and to see that the faith that I confess and the faith that I'm teaching here at Grace is the faith that's confessed around our church. That's just a wonderful thing to experience. So that's been a particular joy of mine over the last 30 days.
Pastor Timothy Appel is pastor of Grace Lutheran Church in Smithville, Texas, and host of Sharper Iron here on KFUO. You can listen weekdays at 8 a.m. Check out all the podcasts, the archives at kfuo.org, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Go back and check the episodes. We're in Old Testament right now, and where are we headed, Pastor? With just about 2 seconds left.
Through Exodus, and we'll see after that. We're going to talk about Jesus.
Oh, good. That's good.
In Exodus.
Very
good. Yes. Thanks so much, Pastor Appel, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.